Imagine waking up to cops pounding on your door at dawn, accusing you of endangering the community with a bird feeder that's been hanging there since Nixon was president. Now picture discovering that the self-righteous busybody behind it all owes her entire subdivision to your family's forgotten land deeds, and she's about to lose everything in a blaze of her own making. In the sleepy suburb of Evergreen Meadows, just outside Seattle, where manicured lawns hid a seething underbelly of petty tyrannies, Alex Rivera had carved out his quiet corner. He'd moved back to the old family home after a brutal divorce, trading city chaos for what he thought was peace. The house was a modest mid-century rancher, built by his grandparents in the 60s on a plot that spanned what was now prime real estate. Alex worked from home as a freelance graphic designer, tending a small garden and feeding the local birds, simple joys in a world gone mad with rules. But Evergreen Meadows wasn't just any neighborhood, it was ruled by the Homeowners Association, a beast that fed on fines and fueled by one woman's insatiable need for control, Karen Caldwell, the HOA president who'd turned community standards into her personal scepter. Karen was the picture of suburban perfection, pearl necklace choking her neck, yoga pants that screamed "I brunch at 10, and a smile that could curdle milk. She'd been elected 3 years ago on promises of elevating property values, but really, it was her way of lording over everyone like a queen bee in a hive of drones. Alex had heard the whispers, how she'd find the Johnsons for a trampoline that ruined the aesthetic, or hounded old Mrs. Patel into selling after nitpicking her holiday lights. But he kept his head down, figuring live and let live. That changed the morning the sheriff's deputy showed up, badge gleaming under the crisp Pacific Northwest sun. "Mr. Rivera, we've got a report of illegal wildlife attraction. Says you're running some kind of unauthorized zoo back here." The deputy scratched his head, eyeing the single bird feeder swinging innocently from a maple tree. Alex blinked, coffee mug frozen mid-sip. "A zoo? It's seeds for finches. My grandma put it up decades ago." The deputy shrugged, handing over a citation from the HOA. "Ma'am who called it and says it's drawing vermin and devaluing the block. Gotta follow up." Alex peered at the signature, Karen Caldwell, president. He felt a flicker of annoyance, but swallowed it. Little did he know, this was her opening salvo in a war she thought she'd win easily, all because she coveted his backyard for her grand community park expansion. A vanity project to cement her legacy and line her pockets through developer kickbacks. Karen's first courtesy visit came that afternoon. She pulled up in her gleaming Tesla, license plate reading Hoqueen, and marched up his driveway like she owned it, which, in her mind, she soon would. "Alex. Darling," she cooed, her voice dripping with faux concern, clipboard clutched like a shield. "We simply must address this feeder issue. It's against bylaws section 4.2, no structures that attract pests." Alex stood on his porch, arms crossed, the scent of fresh-cut grass wafting from his mower. "Karen, that feeder's been here since before your HOA existed. This lot predates the subdivision by 20 years. Her eyes narrowed, but the smile stayed plastered. "Progress waits for no one. Dear. Think of the children, all those birds could carry diseases. I'll expect it down by tomorrow. Or fines start at $100 a day." She turned on her heel, leaving behind a whiff of expensive lavender perfume that clashed with the earthy smell of his garden soil. Alex watched her go, a quiet resolve building. He wasn't one for confrontation, but he'd start documenting every email, every note, because something about her smug certainty smelled off. The whispers started soon after. At the neighborhood Facebook group, anonymous posts popped up. "Anyone else notice that eyesore on Elm Street? Rivera's turning his yard into a dump." Alex knew it was her, the IP traces would confirm it later, but he stayed silent. Observing. Neighbors who'd been friendly now averted eyes at the mailbox. One evening, as he grilled burgers, a drone buzzed overhead, its camera whirring. Surveillance for compliance, Karen's email explained later. We take safety seriously. Alex chuckled darkly to himself, flipping the patty with a sizzle. Safety? This from the woman whose park plan involved bulldozing his heirloom rose bushes for a pickleball court. Things escalated when Karen hit him with the big guns, a formal violation notice for unauthorized landscaping. His vegetable garden. Apparently. Violated color schemes, tomatoes too red. Zucchini too green. It's food. Karen, he said when she showed up unannounced. Her face flushed with righteous indignation. Not a neon sign. She waved her phone, showing grainy photos she'd snapped from the street. The bylaws are clear, all plantings must complement the neutral palette. This chaos lowers our curb appeal. Fix it. Or face leans. Her voice cracked with authority. But Alex caught the flicker of desperation in her eyes. Rumors were she'd over-leveraged her own home to fund HOA improvements, and his land was key to flipping the script on her debts. He nodded politely. But that night, he dusted off his grandparents' old deed box in the attic. Yellowed papers revealed something jaw-dropping. His family didn't just own the house, they held easement rights over the entire subdivision's underground utilities and access roads, dating back to when the valley was raw land. Grandpa had been a shrewd investor, snapping up parcels during the post-war boom. Alex's pulse quickened. This wasn't just defense, this was ammunition. Karen's machine cranked into overdrive. Noise complaints rolled in for his non-existent parties, loud music at 2 a.m., one claimed. When Alex was sound asleep, the health department knocked. Tipped off about unsanitary composting. Ma'am says you're breeding mosquitoes, the inspector grumbled, poking at his neat bin. Alex showed the permits. All legit. Whoever called this in is wasting taxpayer money. But Karen wasn't deterred, she amped up the social sabotage. At the monthly HOA meeting, she stood at the podium, pearls clicking against her blouse. Fellow residents, we must unite against threats to our harmony. Certain properties, I won't name names, are dragging us down. Eyes darted to Alex, who sat in the back, notebook in hand, sketching her caricature with exaggerated features. He caught her glance, and for a split second, her composure slipped, a twitch of uncertainty. Unity means sacrifice, she preached. But her hands gripped the lectern white-knuckled. The coup de grace, as she probably saw it, was the anonymous tip to code enforcement about his illegal addition, a small shed his grandpa built in '72. Inspectors swarmed. Tape measures out. This predates your codes, Alex explained calmly, handing over blueprints. The lead guy whistled. Built like a tank. Whoever complained doesn't know squat. But while they poked around, Alex's quiet research bore fruit. He hired a title attorney buddy from college, who uncovered Karen's web. She was double-dipping as HOA pres and silent partner and the developer eyeing his land. Conflict of interest? Massive. In her own house? Mortgaged to the hilt, with liens from unpaid HOA consulting fees she'd funneled to herself. Alex smirked over his evening tea. The queen was naked, and he had the photos. Neighbors started confiding. Mr. Tanaka from down the block, she fined me $500 for my koi pond, said it was a flood risk. But her pool drains straight into the storm sewer. Mrs. Lopez, spreading lies that my fence was gang-related because it's wrought iron. The woman's unhinged. Alex nodded, recording it all on his phone. She's scared, he said softly. Losing control means losing everything. One rainy afternoon, Karen cornered him at the grocery store. Cart piled with organic kale. "Alex, let's be reasonable. Sell me that back acre, I'll make it worth your while." Her tone was honeyed, but her eyes were daggers. Karen. Reasonable would be dropping the witch hunt. She leaned in, whispering, "Resist, and I'll bury you in paperwork until you beg to leave." Alex smiled faintly. "Try me." The pressure mounted like a storm front. Karen filed for an injunction, claiming his nuisance activities threatened public health, bird droppings as biohazards, garden as allergen factory. Court day arrived. Her in a power suit. Lawyer smirking beside her. "Your Honor, this man is a menace," the lawyer intoned. Alex. Self-repping with a folder thick as a Bible. Projected slides, drone footage of her own yard's violations, overflowing gutters. Unpermitted gazebo. "If we're talking menaces." The judge's gavel banged. "Frivolous. Dismissed. Costs to plaintiff." Karen's face twisted in shock, lips pursing like she'd sucked a lemon. "This is outrageous," she sputtered. But the bailiff ushered her out. Undeterred, she pivoted to dirtier tricks. Vandalism hit, slashed tires on his car. Violators spray-painted on his mailbox. Alex's security cams caught a shadowy figure, traced to a handyman she'd hired for HOA gigs. "Oops," he thought, emailing the footage to his attorney. Meanwhile, her facade cracked publicly. At a block party she organized, she ranted about ingrates undermining progress, her voice shrill over the barbecue smoke. Neighbors murmured. Phones out recording. Alex stood back, sipping lemonade, watching her dig deeper. His counterstrike brewed, a petition signed by 40 residents demanding her ouster for embezzlement, proof from bank statements showing she'd siphoned funds for personal expenses like spa days labeled community outreach. The boil-over hit at the annual HOA election meeting. Packed hall buzzing like a hive under siege. Karen took the stage. Makeup cake to hide stress lines. Voice quavering. "Friends, we've achieved so much, higher values. Stricter standards." Boos erupted. Alex rose, mic in hand. "Standards? Like forging complaints to grab land?" He unveiled the deeds. "My family owns the easements under this whole mess. Your park? It needs my sign-off. And Karen? Your mortgage? I traced it, the bank holding it is tied to my grandpa's old trust." One word. And poof. Gasps rippled. Karen lunged forward. Face beet red. Screaming. "Lies. He's a fraud." But slides flashed, her fake accounts. Embezzled checks. Even a video of her directing the vandalism. "You thought you could bully me out? Surprise, you're the squatter here." Chaos ensued. Votes poured in, Karen ousted 92-8. She stormed out. But deputies waited, arrested for fraud. Harassment. The works. The crowd cheered. A cathartic roar. Alex watched. A quiet satisfaction blooming. Her empire crumbled, properties foreclosed. License yanked. Facing years behind bars. In the aftermath, Evergreen Meadows breathed free. Alex turned his land into a community garden trust, protecting it forever. Neighbors rebuilt the HOA into something fair, with Maria Lopez as pres. Values rose without the tyranny, ironic. Huh. But the real win? Watching Karen's smug mask shatter. Her authority exposed as petty greed. So, was Karen the villain? Or just a product of a system that rewards control freaks? Drop your take below. Who's the real pest in your hood?